Hey folks, stand on top of 2020 Grand Design Reflection 311 BHS. We just recently upgraded the battery to a lithium 280 amp hour battery, so we have a lot more battery capacity. So I figured I'd add a couple more panels to help recharge that battery during the day to our current solar array. These are currently 100 watt panels. We have 400 watts. It's a Renogy setup. We're going to add the 5th and 6th panel. We're going to put one right here and one right there. Current setup is a series connection. We can talk a little bit about that. It basically comes in from the Grand Design MC4 connector up there. One of those is positive, one of those is negative. So positive, and then goes positive to negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Just kind of like batteries in a remote, and then it'll come out negative on the other side and connect in there. The main advantage why we did series there was it didn't put too many amps through the wire. The Grand Design gives you a 10 gauge wire. Should be good to about 30 amps, so could have ran this in a parallel configuration as well, but just opted to do series. Now that we're adding the 5th and 6th panel, we cannot do all of those in a series because it will be too many volts. So in a series connection, you add up the voltages of each panel, and these can produce upwards of 24 to 25 volts, and the charge control only can handle 100 volts. So we need to keep it around the 90 volts or less would be ideal, so it does not overvolt. So what we're going to do is we're going to do two series strings that will parallel. So we'll have these 3 panels here be in a series, these 3 here be a series, and we'll parallel them both together. And then doing that configuration, these 3 panels, you will have the amps. So each one is about 5 amps. You have 5 amps there, 5 amps there. You'll add the amperage together once they're paralleled. And then these 3 panels here, the voltages will add up, and these 3 voltages add up, but you do not, once we parallel them, you do not add the voltages. So we should end up with about 75 volts and about 10 amps, which is more than capable for that 10 gauge wire, which should be good to about 30 amps or so. I'll walk you along the process. Also during that, you can see the Alpha stuff I used the last time is really dirty brown, and it's a very gummy like texture. This time I found out what the factory uses, and it's the Alpha 5120, and you can see it's just nice and clean, and it's a lot harder versus this gum-like appearance. This works fine. I think it just looks terrible, so I did a little bit of research and talked to Alpha, and said it's fine if I put this on there. So I ordered the 5120 this time to see if it'll help clean this up. So the process, I'll redo all this. And then also there's a couple little holes that we'll take care of while we're up here too. So this just it's coming up on 5 years old, so it's just time to double check any of the sealant while we're up here, and we'll redo all this and make it look nice at the same time. All right, we'll get started. First thing I'm gonna do is start unhooking this setup, because all the connectors underneath here, and the way I mounted it down, you cannot get to the connectors without unbolting it. So I've seen some guys, they'll set up racks or something so they can interchange these panels or get to them, but I did not do that, and I will not do it this time either. So I'll start by uninstalling everything, cleaning everything up, trying to get all this sealant off, using a heat gun, mineral spirits, get it all cleaned up, and then I'll walk you through the wiring process, and we'll go from there. Alright, as you can see, I've taken these screws out, but it's still pretty well attached there, so not to rip a big hole in it. I'm going to use a little bit of heat here. Alright, got all the panels unbolted, all the mess cleaned up, all the old sealant off that really made a mess up here. As you can see, it just collects dirt and it's really gummy. It's sealed just fine, but we're going to try the new Alpha 5120 that should be the same as this factory sealant here. So all those are nice and clean and still look like new compared to this other stuff. So but anyways, I used a heat gun, scraped all of it off, used mineral spirits, and cleaned all this up with some dish soap as well in that bucket there. Just used a brush, cleaned it all up. So this is the Jaboni factory wire kit that Grand Design gave me. This is a positive, this is negative. I just added these joiners here. Right now I'm gonna go set up the two new panels, bring them up, put on the Z brackets, lay out the wiring, and then we'll start crimping and cutting wires to the correct size. Alright, here's the Z brackets. I've already installed that one. They basically just go sit on the hole and just put a bolt in the nut, and I put a little bit of Loctite on there and then tighten them down. Got those other two, I'll do those right now. Alright folks, got the panels laid out. Pretty much how we're going to do them. We've got one series here, one series there, and they're going to parallel up there as we've talked about before. And the wiring we're going to do on this is going to come negative out of the Jaboni, and it's going to come into the negative of this panel. The positive of this panel, which is right there, plugs into the negative of this panel, positive of this panel into the negative of this panel, and the positive of this panel will go into the Jaboni. And then we'll do the same thing over here onto the other series. It'll come negative out of the Jaboni, and it'll go into the negative of this panel. And there's the positive right there, plugs into the negative of this one. And then positive output of this one goes into the negative. And then the positive of that one will go into the positive side of the Jaboni. So these are all connected right now. Just the other side that plugs into the Jaboni is not. I need to make new cables. And what I'll do is I'll run these cables under here. You'll see them right there a little bit, under here, and then you'll see them right there on the roof, and we'll glue them down to the roof. So essentially we're gonna have 4 cables. Before we had 2 cables, but now we're gonna have 4 cables, 2 negatives and 2 positives, and they'll plug in there. We're gonna make new cables now for that. I'll show you how that process is done. We're gonna make these MC4 connectors. We use this cable that I've got here, and these connectors here, and put different male and female ends on them as appropriate. I'll show you how that's done. Hey guys, thought I'd just take a minute to explain why I chose not to do any fusing on this solar installation this time around. This is an inline fuse, a 10 amp that came with the kit that was installed the first time around just because it came with it, but it's not really needed. And the reason for that is the short circuit current is less than the max series fuse rating. And I'll give you a screenshot here in a second at the back of the fuse panels that show that. But the max series fuse rating of these panels is 15 amps, and the short circuit current is 5.21 amps. So because it's a parallel installation, we actually have 10.42. You add them together, and that 10.42 is less than 15 amps. So basically it's not needed. You don't need a fuse in this type because the panels will take care of themselves if any of them short circuit, so it shouldn't cause any problems. I'll put a link of a description to Nate's website from Explorer's Life. He talks a lot more in detail about this, and you can see for yourself. Alright, I thought I'd just make a quick how-to how to put these in. When I was up on the roof doing it earlier, it was out of the camera shot, so you didn't get to see it, so I figured I'd redo it here and show you. Bought this kit off from Amazon, it's 20 bucks. Comes with a nice crimper, necessary tools, and all these connections, male and female ends with the terminal in there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pairs of them. Strip your wire back about a finger width or so. Put it in the connector. You notice that it comes with, there's one big one and one small one. I'll show you which end goes in which in a second. But with your crimping tool, there is a smooth curved end, and then this little, looks like a little M. And that M is what goes on this open end here. So I just squeeze it in, put it in your tool, smooth end down. And there it is, crimped. Big end, the big one goes in the one that has this part that sticks out. And you squeeze it in there. You just push it until it clicks. That is all you do. Just use this tool here and screw this end in. Use the other end of this tool. To tighten it up. There you go. The smaller one goes in this one here, and then they can connect together, like so. All right, last connection's done. We're ready to plug it in. Before I do that, I've already made sure that it's the disconnect switch is disconnected downstairs, so there's no voltage running through the charge controller. We'll plug this in, and then we'll go check our voltage, make sure we have amperage down there before we bolt everything down. Guys, this is the Renogy 40 amp Mppt controller. It's mounted in my Grand Design generator compartment. On the back side is my lithium battery that I installed in the previous video. The wiring comes in from the Jaboni up on the roof, positive wire. I believe it's a 10 gauge wire. I installed this disconnect switch just so we don't, when we're in storage, we don't have any power coming from those panels. Here's the negative wire, and those just come in and very simply plug into these lug terminals. The output side of these, this is the positive wire. It goes through a 40 amp A&L fuse, and then it goes to the positive bus bar on the back side, and the negative just goes right to ground. This is my negative bus bar. All right, guys, let me take just a minute to talk about the connection, the wiring of solar panels that I had in the previous installation. We had 4 panels that were in a series wiring configuration, and when you do that, you add up the voltages in a series. So each panel produces about 20 to 25 volts, so that ends up being about 80 to 100 volts. And then the amperage, you don't add up the amps. Each panel is about 5 amps maximum. So we're talking 80 to 100 volts and maximum of 5 amps. And that's a good way to not put too much current through the wire coming to the controller, even though that wire can handle up to 30 amps. The downside of that I was running into was in the wintertime, the panels can actually produce their a little bit better voltage, a little bit more efficient when they're cold. So I was actually getting a over voltage disconnect in the wintertime when I tried to use the panels last winter. I didn't really notice it in the summer because when they're warm, they're not as efficient. But so that's another reason I've opted to do the wiring that I just did is we did 2 series, parallel them together. Now when you add up the series voltage, or the 2 series voltages, one series you've only got 3 panels, so that's the maximum voltage you're going to have, which is going to be somewhere between 60 and 75 volts maximum. And then the amperage, now we've got 2 different series of 5 amps and 5 amps, so we'll add those up and we're only putting 10 amps through, so this is going to work out a little bit better. And some of you might notice the specs on this 40 amp controller is actually the wattage input is only allowed to have 520 watts, which means this thing can only produce upwards to about 520 watts. Now, from all my research, I found that it's actually okay to over panel. So we've actually got 600 watts, but in reality, I doubt that all those panels are ever going to produce 600 watts. And even if they do, let's say they magically do produce 600 watts, the controller is not going to allow it to use that. It's just wasted energy. But it gets me closer to that theoretical 520 versus only having 4 panels. We're only have a theoretical of 400. And realistically, we're only going to produce around 300, 350 at maximum. So this gives me just a little bit more charge output for our scenario. So as you can see right now, there's 13.2 volts. That's just the battery voltage. If we cycle through it, you can see there's just 0.3 volts, which is pretty much equivalent to 0. We turn it on. There we go. Looks like we did a good job. We've got 67 amps running through. It's about 4:45 on a partly sunny day right now, so it's not going to be putting out that much right now. But I know I've got no disconnects or shorts in the wire. Looks like it's working, so we can go ahead and bolt everything down. There we go. See what it charges at right now. Test it on a sunnier day, but that's not too bad for 4:45 in the evening. 24 amps. All right, folks, just disconnected from the Jaboni, cleaned it up, and put down some self-levelant there. There was a few cracks and stuff that I didn't like, and there was a couple holes there, so put that down first, so when I click those in, I won't make a mess. This is the product I'm using. It's the Alpha Systems Alphathane self-leveling. It's in the white color. They do have a year before they go bad by, so I just got these delivered here the other day. They do recommend you buy them directly from Lippert Alpha Systems. Alpha Systems is made by Lippert. I've bought them in the past from Amazon, and it's possible I did get a bad batch that I used last time. They did mention that they had a bad batch, but they didn't guarantee it because I bought it through Amazon, and they don't back their products that way. So I'm not really sure if that's why mine collected all that dirt before, or if that's just normal. Checked on other forums and people said it is supposed to be gummy, but it's not supposed to collect dirt like that. So I think I had a failed product, to be honest. That's why I'm opting to redo all the sealant up here. I've already started removing that sealant there, and as you can see, it's just really gunky and shows lots of cracks. So I'd just rather have this look like that or like that. So we'll see how this product works. Test of time will for sure guarantee. So next step is I'm going to line everything and make sure everything's perfectly aligned, and then we'll put a little goop underneath there and then bolt them down. All right, got everything lined up with the previous holes. Kind of marked it with a little bit of pin on each of the corners. And some of these screws, I noticed when I was taking them out, didn't really have a good bite on them. As you can see, the diameter and the pitch on those screws aren't very good. So I went down to the hardware store and bought some bigger ones. And I think I'm gonna feel more confident with these bigger ones to go through. So I'm gonna put a little bit of goop underneath and then start bolting these down. And then I'll do one panel and then suck the other one, make sure it fits nice and tight up against the other one. Alright, all the 4 original panels are bolted down. I still have to seal the top. But what I'm going to do right now is actually seal these ones back here, because this panel is going to overlap that to hide those and create a little bit more room. So we're going to go ahead and seal those up and then bolt these last 2 new panels in place. Alright, all 6 panels are bolted down now. I just need to go through and do a sealant on the top to hide all those bolts. But there you go. Everything's nice and secure. All the screws bit in, really nice. None of them pulled through. So just put some sealant down and we'll be done. Alright, all the sealant's on. Gets a little messy. I'm not the best at that, but we're a little generous on these ones just because there's a few holes that I did underneath when I was removing them. And I just wanted to hide all the wrinkles of the roof membrane. So let this dry. Try not to step in it. These ones here I did a little bit cleaner because there were fresh holes. So there you go. While I'm up here, I'll finish that skylight, get it all cleaned up as well. Alright guys, it's about midday, about 1 o'clock, and the sun's overhead, so kind of see what it's doing. It's charging right now at 13.8 volts, 54 volts from the panels. It's charging at 31 amps. Alright, here's the Renogy battery monitor, 13.7 volts, charging at almost 31 amps and 425 watts. So that's with 6 panels. So in a theoretical perfect scenario, you would get 600 watts which, like we talked about before, our charge controller is only going to do 520 watts. So the best we're ever going to get is 520 watts, and right now we're getting 420. There you go. Alright guys, all the panels are bolted down, sealant's in place, the skylight is sealed up now, everything's functioning correctly. The sealant has been drying a little over 24 hours. You can still see it's a little pliable. It still has some time to cure. It can take up to 30 days before it becomes hard and fully cured like this stuff here. So the bottle does say to not let it get below 40 degrees when you're applying it. When I put it in, it was about 60 degrees or so, but it did get down to about 38 degrees at night. So the leveling didn't self-level as much as I'd hoped it would. Possibly if it was a little warmer when I put it out, maybe that would have helped that. In the future, if I were to do it again, I'd probably wait till the temperatures are a little warmer and maybe even possibly use a putty knife. I'm not really sure. It just doesn't look as good as I want it to, but it's on the roof and it's functional, so that's all that really matters to me. Let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in more videos like this. Also considering in the future doing videos of where we go camping, boondocking spots in Utah, like Moab, Bryce Canyon, the Uintas, and different lakes that we go to. Also considering doing some videos in the future of the tow vehicle and things I've done to it or things I will do to it. It's a 2022 Ford F350 Super Duty with the 6.7 Power Stroke Platinum trim level. So let me know in the comments or like and subscribe. Thanks.